Off on my syncing. Good morning, Facebook. Good to see you. I try to sync things and I don't know. Some days, it's kind of like you go, but boom. And your like timing is way off. Good morning, jump on in. Good to see you guys. Oh my gosh, it's another weekend. You guys, we're almost done with July. We're getting so close. Oh my gosh, it's painful. I'm such a summer girl. I've talked about that before, being Minnesotan. We really like our summers. We kind of eat them up a little bit, right? But we have gorgeous summers. So anyway, all right. Good morning. So I've done this before. I've talked about mostly in reels, and I've never done this on a live. So I thought today, why don't we talk about, because it's very fascinating. So there are body shapes that are actually more prone. Good morning, Cheryl. More prone to metabolic syndrome. Did you know this? And actually, I think that when I originally talked about this, like a while back, there are like studies that come out of the Mayo Clinic on this. So anyway, any hoodle, super, super interesting. Good to see you. Jump on in. Good morning, Anna. Good to see you. All right. Very, very good. All right. So it's Friday, and I'm actually going to be leaving for a business conference this weekend. And I thought that I would just show you something that I did pick up for the business conference. You know how I talk a lot about different things that I do when I'm going out of town, when I'm traveling for business, than I do when I'm at home, because and I'm not going to, this isn't my topic today, but I'm just a notation because of the whatever. I just happened to go to the store last night and get it. So if you are having a stall in your weight loss, the two things to back down on and potentially eliminate, and I'm not very good at eliminating one of them. The first one is dairy. I'm not very good at eliminating that one. I still do dairy. But the second one is nuts, because they can just stall your weight loss. And it's frustrating because, when you're keto, when you're whatever, like you want to be able to use almond flour and you want to be able to do whatever. And I do for like holidays and all that good stuff. I just don't do it all the time because it slows. And I've gone from a 2X down to a large in my 50s, and maybe my process could have been faster. Maybe my journey could have been whatever, speedier or whatever. I'm okay with my journey having been what it is because I took that time to assess a lot of stuff. That's not why we're here today. We're going to talk about body shapes, but I picked this up. This is literally at Walmart, and it's called New Trail. I don't know if you've ever seen this before. In the Facebook group, you guys, the Facebook group is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. In the Facebook group, I actually made homemade granola. Was it in June? I think it was in June. I did homemade granola. It was phenomenal, FYI, phenomenal. And it was so good. But I didn't have time to make anything for my trip this weekend. I've just been so busy getting everything together. So instead, I went and I grabbed this. Now, the reason why I can't keep this in my house is because I'll eat the whole bag. Now, I'm going to eat this just like out of the bag as a snack, like during conference, right? Keep my tummy full, no hangriness. But let me read you the ingredients, okay? Sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, coconut, almonds, pecans, erythritol, butter, dried blueberries, cinnamon, salt, and monk fruit extract. So this happens to be a really good lineup. And I will enjoy it for the weekend, but yeah, I don't keep it in my house, but I wanted to give you that tip. So there you go. And then I also picked up like string cheese. So this is not super high protein at all. Nuts and coconut and everything, they actually they give you a lot more, a lot more good fat. And so if you're trying to get high protein anyway, so string cheese. And then I did get some like beef sticks, but you have to be careful with the beef sticks because they can have a lot of corn syrup in them. They can have a lot of just junky ingredients, to be really honest. But I found one that wasn't bad. And again, something just to snack on either on the road trip or in the hotel room or in the conference. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about body shape. Did you know that your body shape actually lends itself to metabolic syndrome? And this is super fascinating because, again, so being raised Italian. All right. So picture this. I'm raised Italian. I have a lot of obesity and type 2 in my family. Like so much so that I just assumed that this was genetic. This is how it was going to go. And there was no avoiding it. I didn't know anything. I was very naive. And, but all of my uncles, I'm trying to think if I'm correct. Not all of them, all of my Italian uncles, not necessarily some people that married into the family, but my Italian uncles, they had these big bellies, right? Big. And they would literally talk about how they had a 32-inch waist. Well, but they didn't, right? Because they weren't wearing their pants. Because if they did, if they wore their pants around their belly, you'd be like an Oompa Loompa, and you didn't want to be an Oompa Loompa, right? You'd have to have suspenders. But they would buy pants. One uncle in particular that my memory is very strong of this. And he wore, obviously way underneath his big belly, he had this belt that, you know what I'm saying? It was really more maybe around his low hips. Anyway, but that big belly actually tells us something. It's actually, number one, it's a sign of insulin resistance to have a big belly fat, insulin hormone tied together. And then, of course, now when I'm talking to women, especially, and even though hormones are, we all have hormones, male and female, but I talk a lot about cortisol, right? Because cortisol also is an indicator. High cortisol is an indicator of belly fat. But it's the most dangerous fat on our bodies. The fat on the inside of our knees is actually not dangerous. It's just annoying. And it's just frustrating. Or the fat on our arms right here. It's like, what is that? That's stupid. But that's not the dangerous fat. So that's why I like talking about this topic, because I feel like not only can we recognize like, oh my gosh, you're right. I got this big belly in my 40s and I didn't know why that was. I wonder if I'm insulin resistant, because then you can actually change the way that you're going to lose weight or lose fat, right? You can change that by going, oh, that's why everything I used to do to lose weight isn't working for me anymore. And I have to now view everything. I have to change my glasses. I have to view everything through the lens of insulin resistance in order to actually lose weight. That's what I talk about the most. Okay. So Liz, I am raised Portuguese, so close to the Italian food family. Everything is eat, eat, eat. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's just culture, right? We're all the same. I connect so much with, so Anna is Latina. I connect a lot with the Mexican culture because of their food. I mean, we're all the same. We're all sitting around enjoying our very, our high carbohydrate comfort food. And we're all being like, come on, eat. Like eating is family and love. And I get it. This is why I didn't think I could change out my ingredients. 100% why. I was positive I was never going to change out my food. I was going to find other ways to do it, because like what, I'm going to give up life? I'm going to give up living? Well, you don't have to stop being a foodie. That's what I teach in the Facebook group. But I also teach how I use targeted supplements to deal with this, what I'm going to teach you right now. Okay. Anna. Okay. So this is super interesting. And I believe that the original conversation that I was having a while back was like a study done by the Mayo Clinic on this. But anyway, so body shapes like apple and pear. Anna, thank you for the crown. Thank you for the roses. You're so sweet. Like apple and pear refer to common ways of categorizing body types based on where people tend to store fat. So number one, the apple shape. People with an apple-shaped body tend to store fat around their midsection, their abdomen, and their waist, and they have a larger upper body compared to their lower body. Health considerations. This body shape is often associated with a higher risk of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes due to the accumulation of visceral fat around organs. Okay, this is super interesting. And this is why, I won't go into it right now, but this is why if you are on the trio, the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, remember we talk about the visceral belly fat. One of them helps with that very, very much so. Second one is pear shape. So there are two shapes. We're going to talk in terms of fruit, and then we're going to talk in terms of just shapes. So hold on. So pear shape. People with a pear-shaped body store more fat in their hips their thighs, and their butt, with a smaller upper body and waist. Health considerations: while this body shape is generally considered less risky in terms of cardiovascular health, it can still pose challenges such as higher risk of conditions like varicose veins and osteoarthritis. Okay. Sometimes we talk about it in terms of like a shape, like a geometrical shape. So a rectangle shape is straight. If you're straight up and down, this body type has more uniform distribution of fat and muscle, with the waist, hips, and the shoulders being about the same width. That one has a more uniform distribution of fat, muscle. The shoulders and the hips are about the same width. The hourglass shape, people with an hourglass figure have a well-defined waist with roughly equal hip and bust measurements, giving a curvier appearance. This shape is often considered ideal in fashion, but health risks depend on overall body fat percentage and lifestyle rather than shape alone. And then the inverted triangle, that's where the broad shoulders and chest with narrow hips give a more top-heavy appearance. And understanding your body shape can help, whatever, that doesn't matter. But which one has a higher chance of metabolic disorder and why? Okay, this is where we get good. The apple-shaped body type has a higher chance of developing metabolic disorders. This is primarily because fat stored around the abdomen, the visceral belly fat, you guys, that's the dangerous fat. We're just frustrated because we don't look good in our clothes. We're just frustrated because, our jeans won't snap or whatever, but actually that belly fat it's an issue. This is primarily because fat stored around the abdomen, visceral fat, is more, you guys, listen to this. You have to hear why. It's not just like, oh, we see signs and symptoms in people. No, there's literally a reason. It's more metabolically active. It tends to release fatty acids, inflammatory agents, and hormones that can interfere with the body's normal hormonal functions. Visceral fat, apple-shaped individuals accumulate more visceral fat, which surrounds internal organs. Surrounding your internal organs. This is what you don't want. If you compete, the old commercial, the Special K pinch. Does anybody remember this commercial a long, long time ago? If you can pinch an inch. Do you remember that commercial? Good morning, Mary. Good to see you. That was, that's marketing at its finest, right? If you can pinch an inch, you need the Special K breakfast, which is horrible for your sugars because it's pure corn spiking your sugars, and that sugar turns to fat. Just saying, like, it was the opposite. But that's not the fat we're supposed to be paying attention to, even though that's the fat that we want it to go away. Oh, I can't see that. Oh, you remember that, Mary? Yep. I mean, crazy, you guys, how we've been so marketed to. Okay. So this type of fat is more harmful than subcutaneous fat, the fat that you can squeeze, stored under the skin, because it is linked to higher levels of inflammation and insulin resistance. And inflammation is the core of all disease. Insulin resistance. Okay, so visceral fat cells release fatty acids into the bloodstream, which can lead to insulin resistance. This means the body's cells don't respond well to insulin. We talk about this literally like every day, don't we? You're insulin resistant, your cell has closed the doors and it says no more. And you're trying to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. You want the doors to open sesame, because when you can become more sensitive, you can become more metabolically flexible. It takes time, but you can do it for sure. So it's releasing fatty acids into the bloodstream, which can lead to insulin resistance. This means the body's cells don't respond well to insulin, increasing blood sugar levels over time, right? And eventually leading to type 2. So insulin resistance for a long time. You can be I started in my 20s, you guys. I was gestational diabetic with my first baby. I was hypoglycemic with my second baby. I didn't do anything for 20 years. 20 years. So you can be insulin resistant for a very, 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 very long time before it finally shows up in your blood sugar. Okay. And that's just a message I want to get out there, because people, you're being told that your labs look good. They look good. They look good. They look good. And then all of a sudden, seemingly overnight, you're pre-type 2. Because insulin is a hormone. And so doing a fasting insulin would have maybe told you that. Although you might not need it if you just know you're increasing in belly fat, you know you're exhausted all the time, you know you're super hungry and you're chasing carbs, all of these things. Maybe you've got skin tags. You don't have to have a fasting insulin to know you're insulin resistant. Discoloration in the skin, oftentimes in your neck. My dad had, now that was more advanced type 2, but he had a lot of sores that wouldn't heal on his legs. He had a lot of discoloration on his legs, etc. So inflammation, visceral fat releases inflammatory cytokines, which can contribute to chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is a risk factor for many metabolic disorders, including cardiovascular disease, hormonal imbalance. The presence of excess visceral fat around your belly can disrupt your normal hormone functions, influencing hormones like cortisol and adiponectin, which plays roles in metabolism and fat distribution. Okay. So all of these things contribute to higher risk of metabolic disorders such as a metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. We talk about that too. So this is all connected. All of this is connected with people with an apple-shaped body compared to those with other body shapes like the pear shape. Isn't that interesting, you guys? I find that to be very interesting. So that is a basic understanding of, like, if you have an apple-shaped body, that you are at a higher risk of metabolic syndrome. And that literally was my life. I look back, and when I study this stuff now, good morning, movie mama, good to see you. When I study this stuff now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, because I've got all these memories of my family, etc. Good morning, Magda. Oh, you're on Instagram today. Look at you, Magda. You're jumping all over now. Good to see you. Hold on. I'm seeing if I'm missing anything. Okay. That is very cool. All right. So this is the thing. So when you are able to actually turn back around your insulin resistance, you guys, so many good things happen. So many good things happen. The one that I talk about most notably is the fact that I'm 59 and I don't ache. I kind of mention that a lot because I feel like if people could get excited, excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water. What is up with the frog in the throat today? Maybe too much air conditioning. If people could get excited about feeling better, we all have to decide what motivates us the most, right? Because it is hard to watch people not shift something that was never meant to be terminal. It's hard to watch, right? So I know, because that was my dad. He did not change his ways, right? And he was on so many meds, and he was having so many surgeries, and he was on dialysis, and he was doing all of those things, and his quality of life went down, 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 and his meds went up, up, up. And that's the conversation that is really close to my heart, because if I, as a grandma, now, I started doing this before I had grandbabies because I knew that they were coming. I could see them on the horizon. I was very excited about my little grandbabies coming because I wanted to be a grandma that could function, because my mother had such inflammation in her body, and she ended up having hip replacements and a knee replacement. I had, neither one of my parents were highly functioning with my kids when they were little because they couldn't. They didn't feel good, but I wanted to be different. I wanted to change that trajectory. And so there's no question that I was scared that I was having symptoms like my dad, because I spent my 30s eating everything white. And I was concerned about that. I was scared that maybe, my sores weren't healing, or that I was peeing all the time or drinking water all the time, thirsty, because my mom kept bringing that up to me. And I knew that those were the signs because of my dad. And so when I started, I always talk about how I started with supplements because I didn't know any better. I didn't know any different. So this is over 10 years ago, before everybody talked about berberine. I don't know anything about berberine because that just wasn't a conversation. Nobody was online like this. Nobody was having online video chats. Nobody was doing this over 10 years ago. And so I've never taken berberine just because it wasn't like the thing. It wasn't the thing everybody was talking about. But what I did do was I did the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. And I kind of just crossed my fingers and I went, oh, I just hope that this is going to work. Like I just hope, but I didn't know why they would potentially. But one of them, did you know, helps with that visceral belly fat. And I'm telling you, it's one of the things that gets me the most excited, even though that's something people can't see. Unless you are going to scan your organs to know that the fat around your organs is getting better. It's something that I know that is benefiting people on levels that they don't even understand. And it gets me really excited. And oh, Anna, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. Okay. So this is, hold on. Why did that turn on me? Hold on just a second. So basically, when you are able to break down fat, there's an enzyme that will help to break down norepinephrine, which is a hormone that signals the fat cells. This is a part of the trio that signals the fat cells to break down fat. Higher levels of norepinephrine lead to increased fat breakdown and immobilization, particularly in visceral fat. Okay. So this is one of the reasons why I said I get so excited, because I want people to be able to actually, if you can break down that visceral belly fat, I mean, seriously, you guys just think about that. And we know that this is how do we know that this is common? Because of the fatty liver. Fatty liver has just exploded over the last handful of years. And I've even had somebody, they texted me, this was a little bit ago, probably maybe 6 months ago. And they texted me and they said, she was just very shell-shocked, maybe is a good word to put it. And she texted me and she said, I came from the doctor's office, or I had an appointment this week. And she was very, very upset because the doctor told her that she had fatty liver. And he said, that's okay. So do I. And she was very taken aback by that, because wait a second, should we be treating that so flippantly, right? And the answer is no, because see, fatty liver turns to cirrhosis over time, and you can reverse things when it's fatty liver. There are these windows. We're all living in this window. Most of the people that are on my content, you're living in the window of turnaround. You're living in it. And so do something now before you can't. My dad tried for a half a minute to really kind of he changed his diet, and he did bring down his blood pressure, and but he was already on dialysis, you guys. It was way past his window. He was already so messed up, right? He had already had all the heart surgeries. He already had the pacemaker. He already had all of the things and stuff. Okay. But for most of you, and when I first started talking about insulin resistance, I wanted to talk to the lady who was in her 40s, just like me, who didn't know insulin was a hormone, just like me, who was wondering why she couldn't lose weight anymore, like the old way that she used to do it, just like me. But then what happened was, when I started sharing what I did with the supplementation, I ended up getting from you guys the data, the type 2 data. Because what I did was, my dad had a Lazy Susan full of medication that did not serve him well at all. Like, I didn't understand that. Like, he was never diagnosed with the C word, CAN. Yeah, I just have to be careful on TikTok. He was never diagnosed with something terminal. He was type 2. Wasn't that normal? Sort of, like, wasn't that doable? Well, no, because when it goes awry, you can't do this long term. It literally ruins your body. And I mean ruins, like it ruins your vision and your nervous system and your heart. And there's stroke connected, and your brain, like, it ruins everything. And my grandpa Fergali, who was Italian, 100%, came from Italy after World War I or during World War I, whatever. He came over here and he ended up blind in a wheelchair with type 2. So I know the devastating effects. So I thought I was going to talk to that person, the person who was who was just insulin resistant, pre anything, belly fat, frustrated. But that's not how it worked. I mean, I still do. I talk to you all the time because those are my conversations. But for the most part, you guys, the testimonies that come, there's like a pink highlight bubble on the top of my Instagram page. Those testimonies. If you're in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, like take the weekend now and actually do yourself a favor. Like now you've got the weekend, you've got time to think, right? Today's Friday. You've got time to think. You've got time to sit down and just give yourself 5 minutes. 5 minutes of a little bit of research. Go over to my Instagram, Kirsten Liebelt. It's just the same everywhere on social media. And look at the pink highlight bubble and go, okay, she's talking about those 3 supplements all the time. Why? And read through their data. Don't take my word for it. I did this and I avoided type 2. My dad did meds and he died at 63. There's a difference in what happened here, correct? So my point is you can actually take a different path. You don't have to be like, I have an apple body shape. I have visceral belly fat. I'm a hot mess express. I have high blood sugars. I'm exhausted all the time. I can't function. I ache. I can't sleep. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. They're talking to me about meds that I don't want to take. They're talking to me about whatever it is, or I'm on scripts and I don't like the side effects, like, maybe digestive diarrhea issues, right? Like, all of those things, you guys, this is not a terminal conversation. You can actually become your own advocate. You can actually take back your own body. You can actually create a completely different future in not that long of a time. Like even if Dr. Eric Berg says most of this new smart scales measure visceral, get out. I did not know that. Smart scales measure visceral fat. There we go. Oh, that's good to know. You're learning so much from yep. Oh, yes. Good book. Meds only manage, not cure. I know. That is so true. And I didn't know that though. I was super naive. But if you can take back, if I can talk to women these are the conversations I have in my message, like my messenger on Facebook, my messages in Instagram, TikTok always has to jump over because I can't send you anything on TikTok. It's really challenging. So they don't want to hear that, but it's just true. But you tell me how excited you are that your A1C is coming down, or that your morning sugars are coming down, or that you're losing pounds, or you're seeing the turnaround. And even Dr. Eric Berg would say, it can take up to a year for your morning sugars, your dawn phenomenon to change. It can take up to a year before your BP comes down. Okay. Number one, I have testimonies of that changing way more rapidly than that. Look at the testimonies. One lady within 2.5 months, her morning sugars dropped 30 points and she lost 14 pounds. Really a great story because she was already type 2 and she was already taking berberine and inositol and her meds. And so it's a great story, right? BP, I have somebody that literally, she was on here live yesterday. I don't think she's on today. In 3 months on the trio, she's off of 2 BP meds and 1 anti-anxiousness. I have to be careful of my words. Anti-anxiousness. That's phenomenal. Okay. So yes, but let's say it did take a year. Let's say you had to wait until next July 2025. Is that year wasted? What if you were intentional for a year, discipline, routine for a year? I'm just saying, like, time's going to pass anyway. You will blink and it will be July 2025. So what if it does? I wish my dad would have thought to himself, what if I took a year and like got my shiz together? But he didn't know any of this. I wish that I would have known this in my 20s. I could have taught him this and maybe he would have had a different trajectory. So it used to be, Jacqueline says, it used to be doctors didn't like you hopping from doctor to doctor. They were afraid you were getting over medicated. Now they get upset with me because I have doctors that only want to push scripts. Interesting. Were you talking about a book that helped? You missed it. I don't know, Mary. I don't know. Yes, Mary, you're smart. Somebody mentioned the diabetes code by Dr. Jason Fung. That's what it was, Mary. Thank you for asking. I know it's a completely different world, you guys. And I feel like I just get super upset isn't the right word, because I kind of feel like, I don't want to live in that land, but it is very unnerving, maybe is a good word. It's unnerving that this is the this is the lack of conversation that is happening with providers. Okay. So you have an apple body shape. You've got a big belly. All of my uncles had these big, huge bellies. And men, it's hard. It's a hard belly, right? And with women, we're just kind of a little squishier, but still it just, God, it projects. And we're like, how are we supposed to wear our pants and our jeans? And it's just like, we want to lose the fat because we want to be in a different size, or we want to, et cetera. Like we have more. You have to hear me. I did not get a handle on my life because I was trying to help my health. I wish I could say that after my dad died, that after I had so much, obesity and type 2 in my Italian family, that I woke up and I was like, man, I'm going to take care of myself. No, I literally was like, Mom, I didn't say this to her. I did not. That would not have been nice, and I would have never done it. But in my head, I'm like, you are so freaking annoying. You are so annoying. Kirsten, do you ever go to the doctor? Kirsten, do you even know where your sugars are at? Kirsten, do you know your numbers? Kirsten, are you thirsty all the time? Are you peeing all the time? Like, oh my gosh, you are so annoying. Thank God she saw the writing on the wall. Here I was, like in my middle 40s. And my dad had already died 15 years earlier. And I'm paying no attention. La, 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 la. That was me. I'm like, supplementing? What's supplementing? Eating good food? What's that? Like, que sera, sera. But what got me was her annoyance. That's when I started the trio, the 3 supplements that have the 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity, helps you to go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. It literally can help shift your inner system. And you can always put trio in the comments, or excuse me, reach out to me. My contact information is everywhere. And you can say, listen, you talked about the trio. Will you send me a cart so I can see what you're talking? I want to see those 3. Anyway, I started with that, but then it wasn't until after I had a shoulder surgery. I had a rotator cuff surgery because I was in a car accident, and it tore. So I go in for surgery. I come out. I never have a cycle again. And that's a whole nother conversation. But what happens is, about 9 months after that shift of my hormones being fully, like, I don't know. It's almost kind of like I had surgery and all of a sudden it just was like, bam. And I'm like, it gets worse. You liquefy more, more fat in more places. No. Right. And I didn't want to, I was like, I know I have to deal with pieces. I know that I have to finally, like, really deal, because see, when you're insulin resistant, your insulin that is really, really high is messing with all of your other hormones, and you don't maybe know that. So it's messing with everything else, but it's also some of the hormones that it's messing with is the hormone that helps you to know that you're full and to keep you from being hungry all the time. And so all of we're like, if we knew that, we would do things differently, wouldn't we? We would do things differently. And so I'm just saying, I think I missed something over here. I could see it glitch on me a little bit. That's okay. That's okay. It happens all the time. So anyway, so I'm literally going to just show you what the trio is, tell you you can reach out to me if you want to, and then I'm going to jump off. We are actually going to head out of town. I live in Minnesota, and like at the beginning, maybe I said it. I don't remember if it was on my stories or not, but we're heading down to Rochester, Minnesota, home of the Mayo Clinic, for a business conference. And so that's why I was talking to you about this granola that I picked up for my snacking. I can't keep it in my house all the time because I'll eat it all. But this is a pretty decent product, actually. And I got it at Walmart, you guys. So when I go on business conferences, I allow myself, because I'm on my journey just like you are. So yes, I've lost 3 sizes in my 50s after my cycle stopped. Super important conversation. Everybody wants to talk about fat loss and everybody wants to talk about losing sizes. 100% I'm with you. Me too. So I'm still on my journey, right? And I don't want to be eating this all the time and then not going in my right direction. But even more importantly than that, it's why I talk about the visceral belly fat. It's why I talk about high inflammation with your high insulin. It's why I talk about your liver all the time. Because if you don't get your system running, you're right. You can't lose weight. You're right. If you don't help your liver, you're right. You can't lose fat. It metabolizes your fat. You're right. And I'll talk to you about your weight and your fat all day long. But I do want you to actually turn things back around inside. Because if inflammation is the core of all disease and high insulin is high inflammation, then let's maybe mitigate that. If having fatty liver is not a good thing because it can turn to cirrhosis, let's deal with that. If that fat around your belly, around your organs is the dangerous fat, let's deal with that too. So, and then fat loss gets to be, well, it's exciting, right? It's fun. We want to be a different size. We want to be in a different place by the end of 2024. So let's do it all. Okay. And then I didn't mention, while I'm grabbing these, I did not mention that inside of the Facebook group, which is called Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Inside of the Facebook group, you guys, you can get in there and I'll do a challenge every month. The next one is August 12th. And for 5 days, I'll go live Monday through Friday, 2:00 Central Standard Time. Okay. And we will do ingredient trade outs and I will take you into my pantry and my fridge so you can get a visual of what it looks like from my perspective as an Italian girl trading out my pantry, right? And it took me a while. I'm not going to lie. It took me a while. My journey took me, I was assessing myself. But you can get on a different track right now. So like I said, take 5 minutes this weekend and consider that maybe you would do something different. Okay. So hold on. Oh, I thought I had an earring in. I don't have an earring in. Okay. Super simple track to run on. And it's the opposite of taking scripts. It's the opposite. Scripts that do not heal, they only manage, scripts that leave you with side effects, and scripts that actually create nutritional deficiencies, because every script will create a nutritional deficiency. So let's go the opposite. So this is where I started. I kind of just crossed my fingers, did not know. And so this one is something you take 3 times a day, and it's going to be able to help you fill in some trace minerals and help your insulin and your sugars to come down. That's why you can't lose weight if you have high insulin or sugars. This is for your liver. You've got to get your liver functioning. The level of fatty liver is obnoxious. One of the best testimonies I have on that is somebody who just had a blood test. She reached out to me and she said, my liver enzymes are here and I need them to come down. I said, okay, let's do blah, blah, blah. And she, for over 45 days, cut them in half, just by doing that. So I just want you to know, like, if you take things that actually work, if you take things that are actually potent and effective, I'm just telling you. And then this is where you're helping with your visceral belly fat and your metabolism, etc. Are there more benefits? Yes. Like I could talk forever. I literally did an hour masterclass on these 3 little supplements. I did a masterclass. I was thinking about this morning because now I'm a geek. Now I'm all into this, which is ironic. It's so ironic. You have no idea. I was so addicted to sugar, Snicker bars, Milk Duds. Okay. Anyway. But now I've done that because now I was thinking, oh, I should probably redo that masterclass. I should do a fresh one. I should do a live masterclass again and see if anybody wants to jump on a live masterclass about why you can shift the way the inside of your body works. And maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, what if this lack of a terminal diagnosis could actually be something that's simple? Why does this have to be rocket science? Why do they have us just spinning and spinning and spinning when I already know, I already have the data? Because you guys send me your data, you send me your blood sugar levels, you send me your A1Cs, you send me your liver enzyme results, you send me stuff, and it's all connected. And the very core of the core of the core of the base is insulin resistance to everything, to everything. Good morning, Tammy. Good to see you. Perfect, Carla. Good to see you, Carla. She says she's going to do a replay later. I'm about to do the same. Crunchy snacks, healing from the inside out. Going to do replay later. I am the same about crunchy snacks, wanting crunchy snack, healing from the inside out. Perfect. The book, Beth, it wasn't me actually. It was somebody else. And it was The Diabetes Code by Dr. Jason Fung. And I said that's a good book. I actually, as I'm looking at it, I've had people tell me it's a good book. I have not read it. So I'm just whatever. But I do like to also talk about, I'm sure it's good. I do also like to talk about Marie Emmerich's keto book. That's just another one. You live in Wisconsin? Nice to meet you. You're my neighbor. Your daughter lives in Rochester and works at the Mayo. How do we order the trio? Maria, I love that you are in Wisconsin and that you are my neighbor. I love connecting you guys. This is the funnest journey ever that I've been on. I'm not a geek. I'm passionate. Yes. You would like to join that class. If I did a master class, Magda, you would join that. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. It came to me for a reason. So Maria, because you're on TikTok, I'm going to explain this just for a second. It'll take 2 seconds. If you go straight up here, there's my face. And when you click on my face, there will be a banner that pops up right here. And when you click on it, you'll be able to go to my profile. And on my profile, it basically, there's a phone. There are phone digits right there that you can text me at. And you can say, anybody can do this at any time. Like the other day, I talked about a cart that had supplements in it to help with cholesterol. This was yesterday. And I said, you can always reach out to me. I'll put together a cholesterol cart for you. That was yesterday. And that's what happened. Then people do that. So you can text me or you can jump over to Instagram. The icon is right there on my TikTok page. Click on that. It'll take you to Instagram and you can get right into my messages. And you can say, hey, I was on your live. Will you send me a cart for the trio? I want to see it. I want to know how to order that. And I will customize things for you so that there's no confusion, because a confused mind does nothing. And to me, that's the worst outcome. If I give you information that's confusing and then you do nothing, that's the worst outcome as far as I'm concerned. Because if we don't take care of this, this is a, what do I have in my hands? This is an Android. I just keep it plugged in. This is my husband's. This was a kind of he had to just go buy a quick phone like at Walmart. This was a few months ago because his phone bit the dust. So he thought, but he put it in rice and then it got fixed. So in the meantime, I use this because all of my devices are being used. So I can use this to like pull up my website and show you my website. And I take screenshots of information that I'm researching so that I can give you guys information. I know I'm so weird. You're welcome, Maria. I really hope to hear from you today. I really do. Thank you for following Stoot 1966. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, that's what that is. Megda, yes, you would jump on. I love that. Thank you, Megda, for saying that. That's good to know. Cheryl, hi today. Can you ask my question from yesterday to the nurses? Oh, tell me, what was that? Hold on. Carla says masterclass. Yes, she needs to hear it again and again. Okay, well, I will consider that because I do think that was like probably a Holy Spirit moment. What was the question? Hold on. Cheryl, you might have to redo that. Linda, I'm too funny. Well, rice works great. I know. But you meant the pills and the vitamins. Angie, tell me what you mean. Oh my. Oh my gosh, that is hysterical. I'm just going to pretend I knew that, Angie. I knew that. That's hysterical. Okay. God, you guys are so funny. You keep me laughing. So when I needed to turn back around my own insulin resistance. I started with supplements that could help me go from insulin resistant to insulin sensitive. I had no idea how they worked, but they were these three. So this is where I started. It's just my authentic story. I did not know that they were going to work at all, but they each have an ingredient that helps with insulin sensitivity. So called the trio. People who need to see the testimonies, because please do not take my word for it. Like that alone seems too shallow. That's probably not enough for most of you just to go, oh, I just saw this lady and she just was, I'm just going to, whatever. No. So that's why I'm saying take 5 minutes sometime this weekend. do one of two things. Jump over to Instagram, pink highlight bubble at the top. Look at the testimonies that come from this. Look at the testimonies. A1C down. Let's see. Usually Kim jumps on here. Last 3 months, her A1C. Oh, I'm not visualizing her numbers. I'm going to make it. I think I'm close. 6.9 down to a 6.1, and she's lost 14 pounds. Because when you can bring down your sugars and you can bring down your insulin, you can finally lose weight. That's what that is. It's called the trio. And you can always text me, or you can get into a message and you can say to me, will you send me a cart for the trio? I need to see what those look like. And it's helping you from the inside out with your insulin and your sugars, your liver function, your visceral belly fat that we just talked about today, which literally is releasing hormones and inflammation like it's active. That belly fat is active. And nobody wants that. Insulin resistance. Okay, so if there is a nurse on here, because I have nurses jump on, right? Mary would listen to a masterclass. Very good. Do you have a formula for how to calculate insulin resistance? Yesterday, or do you mean calculating cholesterol? Because yesterday we were talking about cholesterol. You need to know how to find the masterclass video that I posted on my page in December. Tammy, good question. So in the Facebook group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women, go up to the featured tab at the top and you will see the masterclass that I did. It's about an hour long. It's free. And it says December 27th, 2023. What is my take on keto pasta? So before I do that, insulin resistance and how to calculate. So if that is the question, I just want to make sure. Thanks, Angie. Yeah, reach out for sure. A formula for insulin resistance, cholesterol divided by HDL. Okay, yep, that's what I was thinking. So if you're a nurse on here, do you have a formula for cholesterol, triglyceride? You're taking like a formula of triglycerides divided by your HDL, etc. If you do, will you let me know that? Because Cheryl is looking for that answer. We were talking about this yesterday, that there are formulas that people use because we were talking about cholesterol and not just freaking out about the number that they keep lowering and lowering and lowering and lowering and lowering so that you have to take more and more and more STATINSs, which is not helpful. You can go back and watch the replay from yesterday. We went through all of that. But instead, like the Emmerichs or other people, Dr. Ken Berry, Dr. Eric Berg, they'll talk more about probably Maria Emmerich that I know for sure, talk more about a ratio, looking at a ratio as opposed to just a number that they're telling you to look at. You're welcome, Tammy. What is my take on keto pasta? I don't do keto pasta because I'm completely grain free. I think this is one of the biggest mistakes. I should do a live on this. What is one of the biggest mistakes people make when they go keto or when they think that they're good doing low carb well? One of the biggest mistakes is that you're listening to any of the marketing that is telling you that eating keto bread from Aldi's is a smart idea. No, it's not. Because it has nothing to do with the carbohydrates in that moment. It has to do with how much that is how much is that spiking your sugars? And so that's the frustration because grain is, it's very inflammatory, but it's also spiking your sugars way too much. And so that's the frustration about like all of the marketing. That's why the noise is so noisy. The noise is noising, as they would say. And there's a lot of noise. And so you have to decide that there are many different, lines of conversation that they're just not for you because you're not going to get the results. If I was eating keto bread, I would not be getting the results. Correction, under 2. Okay. Oh, if over 2. Okay. So this is the second part of this conversation for the formula. Okay. Got it. If you're over 2, okay. Under 2. If you're under 2 on this formula for cholesterol, you are insulin sensitive. At least that is what she's heard. So she's heard that there's this formula that exists where you take your triglycerides and you divide them by the HDL. And if you are under 2, you are insulin sensitive. Like if you can get that ratio to come down so that you are under 2, and she wants to know if that is true. You've been doing that for 4 years and no success in your A1C and stalled weight loss. Carla, that's the comment for the day. That is the comment for the day. And if people don't know what you just listen up for 2 seconds before you scroll. 2 seconds. She has been, I'm assuming, eating things like keto bread that you can get at Aldi's, or keto anything that is grain. Oh, confetti on Instagram. That was cool. So, keto products. And she said for the last 4 years, no success in her A1C is stalled. No success in her A1C, and her weight loss has stalled. This is why, even when it comes to keto products, even when it comes to proper keto products like this, it doesn't mean you eat them all the time, because you're going to stall your weight loss. But this is why I have the Facebook group. This is why I'm able to talk to you about ingredient trade outs. It's like, this is my track that I give you. Okay. The Matrix gives you a track. Their track is, we're going to give you an improper food pyramid. We're going to give you a really bad food pyramid. And then when that food pyramid creates so that you're just grazing on carbs all day long, every day, then when that gets you into a pickle and you finally are pre-type 2, we're going to put you on scripts. That's their track for you. And then you're frustrated with not being able to lose weight, potentially, side effects, feeling icky. That was my dad's whole life. He would wake up in the morning and it took him till noon until all of his meds and his injected insulin could be friends with each other so that he could drive. I'm not even kidding. It took him the entire morning. This was the last 10 years of his life. He was a business owner, so he could stay home and be on the phone with his employees. Okay. That was just because they have to play nice. All of those meds have to play nice. And it makes you feel woozy and all sorts of stuff, right? You're trying to like regulate. That's their track for you. I have a completely different track to offer you. It's the track that I took, and I did not know that was going to work. And when I started to share these locally in the Minneapolis area with people, that's when I started to go, oh, you're somebody, you're like going to the doctor and getting like, oh, you're giving me your data. That's when I had enough courage to come online and talk about this. So my track is, let's start with targeted supplementation, the trio, these 3. Are there more layers? Sure. People can take other layers, but that's not where we have to start. Let's just start with 3. These are not packaged as a marketing anything. This is just science. That's all this is. And then get in the Facebook group. Okay. The next challenge is August 12th. Get in the Facebook group. I'm going to teach you ingredient trade outs. So let's start with targeted supplementation. Let's talk about ingredient trade outs. Okay. Because then you can fix what got you into the pickle to begin with. That was my hardest thing mentally. Okay. Mentally, not physically. It actually was way easier than I thought it was. But mentally, I was convinced that this was going to be the hardest thing that I ever did, because I'm Italian and, you have emotional connections to food. And then every month I'm going to do a challenge. And at the beginning of the month, we do a 5-day challenge, and you can get resourced and encouraged. And then you can actually like have victory over 1 month at a time. Just 1 month at a time. And then if you're feeling like, okay, I did okay, but not as good as I wanted to, then the next month we're going to do it again. And then again, and so this track of routine and discipline and getting your body to function from the inside out at a different level, mixed with trading out those food ingredients, and then really getting yourself dialed in, assessing why you're connected to food, assessing why without any shame, like doing these things because you can't heal a body in shame, those things. You can have an ongoing track to run on that is way, in my opinion, like is giving me results that far outweigh. And it's all the non-scale victories, even though I've lost 3 sizes, and I'm so excited about that. And I love that very, very much, because don't we appreciate shopping more, right? We do. We appreciate things. It's fun, right? But even more than that, I'm on the floor with my grandbabies and I don't ache, and I have energy, and I'm not hangry all the time. And I'm not waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning because my insulin is off the charts, because it's a hormone and it's messing up all my other hormones. And that whole waking up in the middle of the night, that doesn't have to be normal. That doesn't have to be normal at all, because that's a hormonal conversation that you're waking up. So Mimi, just reach out to me. You love shopping for new clothes. I know. Anyway, but Mimi, you can either reach out to me by text. There's a number on my profile on TikTok, or you can jump over to Instagram and get into my messages and say, I was on your live and you were talking about the trio. You were talking about those 3 supplements. Will you send me a cart so I can look at them? That's Simply Jesus. I love that handle, if that's what you call it. Am I old because I call it a handle? Does that make me old? Am I irrelevant? I love your handle. I bet that's a wrong terminology. What are you supposed to call it? I love your name, Simply Jesus. So 3 supplements that have 3 ingredients that help with insulin sensitivity. Okay. Helps with bringing down your sugar and your insulin, helps to get your liver to function better, and works with your visceral belly fat, which is what we've been talking. You will message me on Insta. That's perfect, Mimi. I will look for your message. Okay. I promise. So hold on. So Carla says, in eating those keto breads, the marketed keto products, she thought she was doing the right thing, but now I have a new vibe. She has a new vibe, Carla. She says, I'm listening to you, Kirsten, and you are spot on. Working towards grain-free and seeing some changes little by little, ordering the trio this weekend. That's fantastic. This is my tribe. Oh, Carla, I love that. I'm beginning to get excited about being healthy and throwing away the hamster wheel. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's exhausting. Is it not? Unbelievably exhausting. I'm so glad you are finally sleep. You finally sleep all night long now, Tammy says. Tammy, how long have you been on the trio? Ellen, trio, perfect. Yes. On Facebook, you can put trio in the comments and I can slip into your messenger and get you information. On Instagram and TikTok, you have to get into my DMs because your messages, they all go away, poof, when I shut down my live. This is the way that it is. Just the way that it is. But I love that so much, Carla. I love that. And I'm telling you, this is, and I got a lot of encouragement over my years of trading out my ingredients through people like Maria Emmerich. I didn't make this stuff up, right? I'm not the expert, but I can resource you guys. I'm an expert in my own journey. I'm an expert in being able to share what I talk about all the time because, repetition is the mother of all skill, right? And I'm a geek and I like to research. So in that way, sure. But Maria Emmerich's the one that taught me how to, trade out lasagna noodles and lasagna and how to make sugar-free chocolate pudding and how to stop being taken in by the marketing machine that tells us that Cheerios are heart healthy. No, they're not. They're literally, OMG, you guys, doing the opposite. Because animal fat, saturated fat, cholesterol is not what's causing heart disease. It's not. What is causing heart disease is insulin resistance that is not dealt with. That's what's causing it. It's the constant spiking of your sugars, the rising of insulin, the rising of inflammation. And then your cell, at some point, you become resistant. Your cell says, no more. You have to open up that cell. You have to become more sensitive. That's the conversation that we're having with supplementation. Okay? You can do that. All right? But right now, if your cell is doing this, your pancreas is just going to release more insulin because it thinks it didn't do enough. So now you're going to get more and more and more and more inflammation. And now you've got all these things that are connected to insulin resistance that you don't want. Fatty liver, PCOS, gout, type 2, dementia. So this is why I'm like, oh, you guys, simple steps. And we can do this. We can literally turn things back. And the benefit of the benefit is, what if in this process you start to lose sizes, you start to shop for different clothes, you don't ache so much, and you can actually function. Maybe you can travel to the places that you wanted to travel to because traveling isn't so hard. I talked yesterday about how we would get on buses for our business conferences with our business team. And by the time I got there, my ankles were so swollen. I would have to lay on the bed and put my feet up against the wall. Miserable. Why don't we get rid of some of this misery? And we can have this conversation collectively because this is not a terminal diagnosis. If this was a terminal diagnosis, like something with the C word, we would not be able to, it would be harder, right? Because then potentially if somebody's diagnosed with something that's a stage 4C, then you have to have a team of people to help you. But what I'm telling you about this insulin resistance, you can help yourself on a level that is stunning. It's amazing. Tammy says she's been consistently using the trio for 3 to 4 months and she changed her food 2 weeks ago. Oh my gosh, this is so interesting, Tammy. So you did the trio first for a long time. You're like me. You changed your food 2 weeks ago, seriously changing your life. You feel so much better. I'm also speaking kind words to myself. Remember, do not say things to yourself that you would not say to someone else. I'm so proud of you, Tammy. Learn to give yourself grace. Oh, yes. And Carla says, Tammy, that's awesome. I am looking forward to doing this too. Yes. Speak those words like I am awesome. I am smart. I am worthy. You guys are getting this. You guys are getting this. So Tammy's been on the trio for 3 to 4 months. Hold on. I'm going to put that up there. But you basically said you're finally sleeping all night long now. I love this. I love this. That is so good. Yep. I love that you're speaking kind words to yourself. And when I talk about that with you guys, there are a couple of books. Well, there's one book that I mentioned the most, and it's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. It's an old book. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. You have to stop the negative thinking. You have to. You have to stop talking to yourself poorly. You have to say, listen, because it's what I did. I'm going to go on this journey. And like I've said it before, I didn't tell anybody that I was doing this inside of my brain, inside of my mind. I thought, nope, nobody else needs, I don't require anybody to go on this journey with me. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to start paying attention to things that trigger me, things that bother me. Why am I emotionally connected to that food? Blah, blah, blah. As I'm trading out my ingredients, this is what I did. And I decided, you know what? I'm done with feeling bad about myself. I'm done with feeling bad about how I look. I'm done with feeling bad. And it's because I was raised with a certain look, it's that look of disappointment. Oh, it's too bad you're so heavy. I don't know if anybody resonates with that, but I was done with that. But do you know how old I was when I was done? Just shy of my 51st birthday. So how many decades had I been living with that? So you're not too old to finally reconcile and deal with treating yourself kindly enough and having enough patience and grace for yourself in order to be able to, without any shame, because you're just repeating things that you were taught, whether it's in your habits, whether it was in the way that you were raised, the empty plate club. There are starving children in a third world country, right? Or maybe it was a cultural thing that you learned that you eat to be happy, or you eat when you're sad. You eat for your emotions. Italian, right? So these are things that you were just taught. This is not something you just made up so that you could have a world of insulin resistance. You were just literally doing what you knew to do. So stop telling yourself that you're a loser up here. Stop telling yourself that you don't have discipline. Stop telling yourself that there's no way you're going to fix it now. It's too late. I was shy of my 51st birthday and I decided I'm going to start trading out my ingredients and I'm going to get better at this. And I had to tweak and tweak and tweak. And it took me time. And I put carb blockers in my pockets. You can ask me about the carb blocker when you reach out and ask about the trio. You can add the carb blocker to your order if this is an issue for you. Not everybody has this issue, but I put carb blockers in my pockets and I decided that I was going to take on social settings while I was assessing myself, I wasn't going to shame myself if I made poor food decisions. That, I guess that's a good way to say it. I'm trying to think if there's a better way. I was simply going to, I was simply going to mitigate the situation in the moment. So therefore, if I'm in a food, if I know that, okay, I'm going to a graduation, I'm going to a wedding, I'm going to a funeral because I'm Italian and you eat really amazing food at funerals. Like it's a law. It's a law. They all serve really good food. Including my dad's when he was 63, he had a massive funeral because 63 is young. And the food, catered, of course, by like a family friend, like, of course, right? So I know I'm going to go to all of these social settings, just like if you can project yourself to, it's October. Okay. You're in October. What's coming? Maybe there are Halloween things that you're going to be doing. You're coming up on Thanksgiving. You know, all of your favorite foods are there. You know that at that Christmas party, you know that at Christmas Eve, you always do whatever. Well, in those moments for me, and I'm not saying this was wisdom, I'm just telling you what I did. I put carb blockers in my pockets and I had them on me all the time. So that in that moment, if I felt like I didn't care about something, I was going to not care about it. And that's perfect. But if in that moment I was like, I'm really not ready to give that up right this minute. Like I'm just, or maybe I'm feeling self-conscious about other people around me. And I know they're going to ask me why I'm not eating it. That's a real thing too. You're in the midst of food pushers. Hello. That's the Italian way. That's the second law. And you just know that you just aren't in the mood. You're just not in the mood for somebody to question why you're not going to eat that. So you take your carb blocker and it will mitigate the sugar spike. It's a science thing. It's not some magic. It doesn't take away your calories. It doesn't magically fix everything, but it does mitigate the sugar spike in your bloodstream. So it's stopping this. Where, come on, if you go to Olive Garden and you eat a big bowl of pasta in 2 hours, what are you doing? You're sleeping because you went woo, crash. So you feel those effects of the crash. However, what really happened was you spiked and your body released massive amounts of insulin and your inflammation went whew, and your cell was closed. Instagram, you're hysterical. I'm having fireworks because I did that. Your cell is closed. And so now you're not getting the energy you needed from that food. You're exhausted. So now you're going to chase carbs again because you're exhausted. But worse than that, the side effect of that, doggone it, it all gets stored as fat. It was extra for free. That's the part that we're trying to mitigate. We don't want the high insulin response to the high sugar spike of the pasta. So I just mitigated that with carb blocker. And a lot of people do that. You know, and the trio, that's like a monthly thing, right? You buy the trio, it's every month. And the truth is that these 3 supplements, because they're not packaged and marketed to you for weight loss. This is just where I started within a line of supplements. I'm like, these 3, right? So I'm learning. So I put these 3 together. This is what I do, right? But then I really reverse engineer why they work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's great. But because of that, you guys, this is not like, this is not a $150 to $200 thing. In fact, these 3 together are $93 and free shipping is at $139. You don't even get to the free shipping. So sometimes people buy 2 months at a time to get the free shipping. But if you do buy, you guys, like without talking to me, and that's totally fine, make sure you register with your name. Because when you register with your name, there's going to be a little box and it's going to ask you if you want to like have the perks. And the perks get you the free shipping at $139, but they also give you points for your products. Don't miss out on that so that you can cash in on get cash off of future orders. Okay, so that's just housekeeping. But that's why it's like, this is just normal supplementation prices. Nothing's jacked up. Nothing's magical. Nothing's a gimmick. I'm just telling you, this is really basic. This is why I geek out on it, because I'm like, so why does this work? Like, Why do filling in nutritional deficiencies and getting your body to kind of like your engine, you're lifting up the hood of your car and you're getting your engine to run. And the engine is the very base of insulin resistance. So no fad, no gimmick, no, nothing like that. Perfect. What did I miss over here? You're charting your journey, Carla. I'm loving this. Kathy, thank you so much. You're amazing. You are amazing. You're charting your journey from the day you're charting your journey from the day that you found me on Facebook, July 1st, 2024. Are you kidding? Everything makes so much sense here. And there's so much support. I'm finding all of my info, Dr. Berg, Dr. Barry, and others in one place. And it's spot on. Thanks so much again. And again, you say hearts, 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 heart. Oh, Carla, that makes me so happy because, I resisted for a long time coming online and talking about this. I did. Because you just have imposter syndrome, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But I just decided that, I decided a lot of things. And I think that 2020 pushed me over the edge to make sure that I got rid of any comfort zone in a lot of different ways because I'm so over it. I'm so over the lack of information regarding pretty much anything. I'm so over the shutting down of the simple things. I mean, and what happened was right away because I had already been a geek at this point about supplementation, and I knew that what was being told to us by a narrative was wrong. I knew it. I knew that vitamin C actually could make a huge difference. And I knew that vitamin D could make a huge, I knew things, right? And I also knew that, and so being told that you can't talk about certain things on social media like that, basic things that literally we were raised with, like these are all of the, grandma's things, like this is how I raised my kids. Like just basic, you eat good foods or whatever. In my opinion, they were good foods. They weren't, but I was cooking from scratch. But basic knowledge, and they were shutting it all down. And I went, what's going on? Like, what? I have to be careful about talking about vitamin C? Like, that's when I went, okay, this is ridiculous. The Matrix has one answer for you, and one answer only, most all of the time. And that is scripts, because they are owned by PHAR. They're owned. They're not taught this. But yet these, you can literally ask ChatGPT why a certain ingredient will help with insulin resistance, and it will tell you. Like, God gave us answers. And the fact that we are deficient in certain like trace minerals, that would be one conversation. Simple. I liken it to how we are deficient in iodine because we stopped eating iodized salt. Now, iodized salt is crap. It's bad for you. It's not good for you. Don't eat iodized. Don't eat, the Morton salt, the table salt, right? So we switched over to pink Himalayan. A lot of us did. And that's great, but it doesn't have iodine in it. It's just something simple that our bodies need. And so then people end up with thyroid issues. So fill in a nutritional deficiency sometimes. I can't make claims. I don't make claims, but I'm just telling you, like, these are simple conversations. This is not terminal. This is not rocket science, but we don't know the basics. But the deficiencies come from many different things. Our soil, our switching of products like salt. We can have anything shipped to us from anywhere in the world. And by the time it gets to us, it has very few nutrients. That's common. We don't think about that. I live in Minnesota. Do you think the raspberries I'm buying in January have any nutrition? They were picked somewhere else and then shipped to me, right? So we're eating out of season. These are just basic conversations. So this isn't like, okay, so these have ingredients that were really special from the redwood forest that you have to dig down 7 layers to. No, these are literally filling in nutritional deficiencies and getting your body to function at a higher level from the inside out. Like if your liver is tired and toxic and it can't function, you can't lose fat. So let's get your liver going. Come on. Because your liver, what is it going to do for you? Your liver is going to govern your hormones. Insulin is a hormone. It's going to govern the glucose in your blood, and it's going to help you metabolize fat. Oh, your liver, all day, every day, because we're so bad to we're mean to our liver. Here, take that seed oil, take that high fructose corn syrup that only you can metabolize. Here, take all of the toxins. Here, take all, and our liver's like, and then we wonder why we can't get results. So anyway, that's that conversation. All right. I love that, Carla. Thank you so much. And I know that I missed things over here, and I will look when I jump off here now. I will go on Facebook and I will look at all of the messages that you guys sent me. And if somebody has dropped Trio on Facebook, I will get you Trio information. You heard that Celtic salt is the best for, but very expensive. I have heard, oopsie. Sorry, I know that pause. That was my low power mode. I have also heard that Celtic salt is very good, and I have not purchased it yet. I just haven't looked into it. But yes, I think there's another layer of help. I do believe that, Megda. I would just have to research it. That's all. I haven't taken the time. But anyway, so if you need anything, you guys, I put my contact information out there for a reason. Okay. Don't sabotage yourself and be like, oh, I'm not going to take 5 minutes and go look at the testimonies on her Instagram pink highlight bubble. Or I'm not going to reach out and ask about the Trio, even though I've known that I've needed to do that for a while. Like I literally 2 weeks ago had somebody say, I've been watching you for a year. Now that's okay. I'm super glad she reached out, right? Like keep watching and keep listening so that you can get things into your head and into your spirit. It takes time. It takes time. But if you feel prompted and you're this close to reaching out, just do it. Just do it so that you can start a journey that's different, that you can get on a different track to run on, and you can have different experiences and different results. And in the end, when you feel good, when you wake up one day and you feel better, you're going to create different memories because you can. I'm all about creating more memories with my grandbabies, more travel, more fun, more waking up and not aching. I'm all for this. So anyway, expensive. Yeah. So I've heard that it is. I haven't looked it up, but yes, that could very well be true. So I'm so glad you guys jumped on today. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for all of your testimonies and all of the good stuff. And I will get you a cart with the Trio. And if you need anything else in it, just let me know. If you need something to help you with your inflammation or your high cortisol or your carbohydrate transition, let me know and I will help you. So see you later, Cheryl. Bye, Anna. Thanks for hanging. Have a super good day, you guys. I'll look for your messages. I promise. All right. See you later, Insta. Bye, Facebook.